Salut și bine ați venit la o nouă ediție ZF IT Generation. În emisiunea de astăzi vă oferim detalii despre modul în care BCR, una dintre cele mai mari bănci locale, se folosește de inteligența artificială, dar și despre cât de importantă este utilizarea acestei tehnologii de către startup-urile care țintesc să obțină o finanțare de la BCR Seed Starter, vehiculul de tip Corporate Venture Capital al băncii. Detaliile sunt oferite de Thomas Kolarik, vicepreședinte pentru IT și operațiuni al băncii. Vă oferim astfel cele mai importante momente dintr-un keynote susținut de vicepreședintele BCR în cadrul unui eveniment care a avut loc recent la Oradea, dar și un scurt interviu acordat ZF. Pentru început, vă invităm să urmăriți principalele momente din intervenția lui Thomas Kolarik.
So when we talk about democratization of AI, it's a big buzzword at the moment. It belongs to the good, it's a corporate good behavior to have an AI picture, so I also have an AI generated picture. And you see the hallucination here. if you look closely, that's not the way people sit. So what we believe in real people. We believe in that people can use the power of AI. And these are our employees, first and foremost. And the revolution that AI makes possible, and I'll explain later why this, I think, is a revolution, is that we are empowering our experts. And I will repeat this many times during this presentation. If it's the only thing that you remember, it's okay. It's okay. It's about empowering experts. It's not about empowering software engineers. It's not about empowering IT people. It's not about empowering programmers. It's empowering everybody. Non-tech people, and that's a bit of the revolution. Yeah? So, the idea is, and I think we have made the first steps in this direction, that if you explain to everybody who works in an organization, and organizations are expert organizations, yeah? You have experts for this and experts for that, and then sometimes you maybe have IT people who are experts in their own right. But the idea is to use the knowledge that the organization has, the knowledge that everybody has, and then use technology to be better with this kind of knowledge. I call it a grassroots automation movement. And this is also different from the old times, when automation was something, that a consultant did, or something that, a internal department did for you. Yeah? The idea is that AI enables you to automate what you are doing. So now we come to the teaching part of my session, and we're going to learn some buzzwords, some AI buzzwords, and I'm very thankful to Mr. Haber that he mentioned ML, which is machine learning, and the other one is LLMs, which is Gen AI, which is large language models. So that's maybe the first one. So we have two, you can say, AI variants, and both have specifics that make it easy or not so easy to use them for us, maybe for others as well. So, an example of a large language model every one of you knows is ChatGPT. Yeah? By the way, the T in ChatGPT stands for, who knows that? Transformer. Transformer, yes, thank you. Transformer is an algorithm that was invented by a European scientist. So for those of you that think it's only grown in the US, the algorithms are old and well known. We are using, Gen AI, the most famous usage of Gen AI is chatbots. On the machine learning side, machine learning is a bit older but still very important for big companies like us. For example, we use fraud detection, and I'll explain a bit later how we do that. So machine learning is shifting through vast amounts of data and finding patterns. But there is a difference, and the most important difference that we as a company have when we talk about these two classes of AI is in the data realm. Oopsie, I shouldn't play with this thing. So in the data realm, there is a big difference. Machine learning is something that we do with our data, yeah? Which means we are responsible as a company for that data. We are regulated. There are many laws and regulations that we have applied. There are hefty fines if we do the wrong thing. And we need to have our data in order. Because if the data is crap, the algorithm will not work. And when it comes to creating these models, it's on us. We are the trainers of the model. If you look to large language models and the ones that we are using today, this is not our data. The data of large language models comes from web crawlers, comes from Wikipedia, comes from scanned books. You know that, you heard it before. And the data for ChatGPT also comes from Reddit. So who is a Redditor here in the room? 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's a bit of an exclusive community of nerds, I have to admit. Yeah? And the language that is used in Reddit is maybe not suited for publication. But there are estimations, and OpenAI is not very open about what data they have, but there are some tricks and you can find out. Estimations are that in the first version of OpenAI's ChatGPT, 20% of all the data was from Reddit. And this may explain the strange kind of humor that you see something in ChatGPT, and some of the hallucinations maybe as well. So why do I tell you this? Because the data is not ours. We're talking about enormous amounts of data. We're talking about billions of records here. And it's not ours, so we don't know what is in it. Yeah? So if you look at the big large language models, one of the challenges is, and this is maybe more a political challenge, but it has practical technical consequences, that we don't know what data has been used to train these systems. There are now the first open source models like Llama from Google, but the big ones, they keep a closed shop. This means also these things come pre-trained. And it's our job to kind of work around that. How do we do that? First, the good news, and I'll start with the large language models here. The good news is these models speak language. Yeah? So something that we can use to communicate. I could also try to communicate to you with a, I don't know, with an optimization algorithm, or in one of my 3 or 4 favorite programming languages. You maybe would not understand me. Obviously, this is a big advantage for large language models and makes it really suitable for wide adoption, for democratization. Whereas machine learning models, they spit out numbers. Yeah, so if you're a math or tech nerd, you have no problem with that. The majority of people prefer language when it comes to output of a computer. And you remember the famous Star Trek scenes where, hey computer, they had speech processing from the very beginning. But now it becomes even more interesting, because how do you kind of work with these things? How do you program them? Yeah? How do you tune them in a way that they can be used for your problem? And here, obviously, with machine learning, you need the tech guys again. Yeah? You need experts in modeling, in optimization. For large language models, you don't need that. You can program one of these language models in your favorite language. She in Ramona, Anche in Italiano, in English, auch auf Deutsch natürlich. So language is amazing, you can try that. And I will show you something how this works. So now you're beginning to understand a bit more when I talk about democratization. So you don't need to call an IT department, write a specification. And it's also not called programming, it's called prompting. So the programming of large language models, we don't talk about programming anymore. It's called prompting. And this means pros and cons. So we have a very powerful tool which speaks our language as human beings, which can be programmed in language, which is amazing. On the downside, we don't know really what kind of data it has, what kind of knowledge it has. It's amazing amounts of knowledge. So our imperative is here to customize the model or the system in a way that we can use it. The vision is, for machine learning, we need to get our data in order, we need to get perfect data, then we have good models. For large language models, our vision is that we can create something like intelligent agent. An intelligent agent is something like a digital twin of an expert. Yeah, if I want to anchor with my previous speaker. So the digital twin of an expert can do the same things 95% of the time that the expert can. And this is possible. So let's look a bit on the things that we are doing in BCR. This is actually from Donald Knuth. Donald Knuth is, for us computer scientists, something like a god. In that sense, these are simple things that we will be doing. So our chatbots. We have a lot of conversations going with chatbots at the moment. We have both left side, right side. We have machine learning chatbots, and we have also large language models chatbots. We are trying to make sure that through prompting we get relevant answers. Just an example, you know that you want to maybe chat with a chatbot about general things, but you maybe also want to know stuff from the bank that's related to your stuff. So what we need to find out the context of what you're asking us, and then depending on the context, we can be a bit more open, or we have to be very specific. The challenge for us is we cannot give you wrong advice, yeah, in a chatbot. When it comes to, when you ask for money topics, you know, prices, people tend to be very unforgiving when it comes to money. This is why we take this as a bank very seriously. We want to make sure that there is no hallucination. This can be done by prompting and also by a combination of techniques. Maybe interesting for you, most of our customers still like, and they ask for it, they ask for a human operator. So the way the chatbots work, you start with a machine chatbot, and then you can switch to a human being, and many people like that. On fraud. Our fraud models are getting more and more important because fraud in transactions, and you know this from cards, I don't need to tell you anything about fraud in financial transactions anymore. I think we know that this has become one of the major nuisances of digitalization. What machine learning models can do, because we have your transaction history, we can find out if a transaction doesn't fit to your usual behavior. So the machine learning model learns from the data what is your usual behavior, and if you're deviating from this usual behavior, we can stop a transaction. And that's one of the classic things that you can do in machine learning. And it's more a performance problem because we have millions of transactions per second. Everything has to go through this channel. But from a model perspective, this is really something where once you have your data in order, it works like a charm. What we started now, and this is a bit of, was for me one of the moments where I said, this is really a next step, is verification of legal documents. So one of the advantages of GenAI is that it can understand something like context. So if you send a document to the bank, usually we have an expert that finds out what kind of document that is. And it may sound simple, but it's not, yeah? Because when you have seen legal documents, you have procura, you have special forms of alternative power, so it can become quite complicated. The power of a large language model is that, of course, things can be read, but the context of the items is relevant. And you can ask questions about the content of a document, and based on this content of a document, you can route the document or even get answers. Facturas, for example, invoices, are one of the major topics for us as a bank. We get a lot of invoices from customers for factoring, for loans, and we use these invoices. These invoices are processed by a large language model. What is the basis of all that? Without education, obviously, you won't get anywhere. So what we have done is, we have prompt trainings for all of our employees. So it's not like programming training where you learn the programming language. It's really, you learn how to write with a large language model so that it gets the right stuff to you. We have a playground. This is also important from regulatory purposes because we work with customer data, so we want to make sure that customer data is not used in these models. And what we have a database of these prompts, so expert knowledges that people can share. And if somebody has solved a problem, for example, somebody has found the right prompt to find out if this is a procurer or not, all the others see it. Then we repeat, it is not an IT topic. IT is here more in a coaching role or in a teaching role. And let me end by this quote, which is quite famous. It means really when we talk about new technology, a lot is about learning, and it's not complicated. Yeah, so don't fear to take a prompting lesson. You can do this everywhere. Maybe you search for it on YouTube or wherever. Don't fear to take a prompting lesson. It will make you a better expert, and it will impress all your kids as well. And let me end. Now I have to get from AI to entrepreneurship. Most of the stuff you've seen here is obviously very much dominated from the States. And what we strongly believe in as BCR, we believe in innovation made in Europe. So we have an equity vehicle, we have 5 million euros that we can invest, and we want to invest into Romanian startups in the technology sector. So if you're interested, and this is the most important slide maybe for you today, apply here. We would like to finance your startup. If it's AI, even better. Thank you very much.
Iată care au fost și răspunsurile oferite de Thomas Kolarik, vicepreședinte pentru IT și operațiuni al BCR, la întrebările adresate de ziarul financiar.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an amazing place here in Oradea, I have to say that. Regarding AI for us is an extremely important technology that we have to use the right way. And AI is a very broad topic. So I'd like to think about AI in two steps. The first step is what we call machine learning. This is where we have our data as a bank, and we can make sure that the data is treated properly, correctly. Here we have the GDPR, we have our normal regulatory environment, and we know what to do here. This is about algorithms and it's a bit more technical. But that's the classic AI, but this is still very important for banking. So we base all our fraud detection algorithms, for example, on this technology. So this is already highly regulated, and there are of course advances in the technology, and these algorithms become better every day. On the other side, we have what today everybody calls AI, which is Gen AI or large language models. And for us as a bank, obviously, we are not working with data that we have under control. We are working with data that is under control of OpenAI, Google, and so on. So here it's for us extremely important to make sure that if we work with customer data, we work with it in a way that these systems don't confuse customers, and that customer data is kept confidential. This can be achieved. So there is, we will not be able to change the data of these huge models, obviously, because these models are getting better and better every month with every release. So the knowledge is better, the error rates are better, the hallucinations are going down. But we have to enrich these models with the information that is relevant for our customers. And that's called prompting. So that's the technology we are using. And prompting is something that's very interesting because it can not only be done by technicians, but by everybody. So everybody who knows how to write a sentence can help an AI, a Gen AI, to become more specific, but also more compliant. And so now we have started a huge training initiative. So we have a sandbox, a playground environment, where we help employees to learn to work with this technology. We have trainings for people, and we really have seen that also non-technical people are able to be very productive. We see now also regulation coming on the AI side of things. So, and that's also what the National Bank of Romania and what the European regulators are very much interested in. So you're not on the first one who's asking me that question. And we already have regulation in Europe on AI. It's called the AI Act. This AI Act will come into force very soon. So we are preparing for the compliance here. And I think this is a box that all of the banks will have to tick. So this means we will be transparent about which models we are using, what data is being used, and if there is any risk in this technology. And risk can stem from the fact that you're using the wrong part of AI for the wrong problem. Yeah. So, for example, if you use Gen AI for a customer interaction, yeah, that's really important. Where we discuss, for example, the terms and conditions of a mortgage. Yeah, this would be the wrong use for that kind of technology. For that, we have systems which are precise, which might be not so eloquent, yeah, but they are precise. So you will see this mixture of technologies. We will have generative AI in areas which are less risky for us as a bank and which are less risky for us as a customer. And we will have systems that you can 100% rely on, where you don't have to worry about hallucinations or data problems that we see, of course, with large AI models. Still, and one example, for internal usage, for example, if we have internal processes that have been manual for many years, that's an area where we can experiment a bit more. Yeah, because here we have everything under control. We cannot lose data. And one example, for example, would be the analysis of legal documents. Yeah? So we have one of our pilots now in the area of document analysis. That's something where AI is suited very well, and also regulatory compliant. So we have an AI team. The AI team reports directly to the board. We have an AI committee. You know, we are a bank, so we have obviously committees, but you also need it for regulatory purposes. And we see an amazing demand of new ideas. And why do we see that? Because we believe in education. So once you explain to experts, and not to IT people, but to experts, so people who cannot write software, but have problems with document processing, have problems with some logical flows. A lot of demand comes from their side, because they see, once they are empowered with the technology, they see that they can simplify the way that they work.
Vă mulțumim pentru că ne-ați urmărit. La revedere!